I'm from the Faculty of Philosophy, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the School of Ethics, Social Justice, and Public Service. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. Basically, what I'm going to give you is an overview of what we offer and why it might be of interest to you to take one of our programs. And even if you don't end up taking a program, to also consider how maybe taking a couple courses in philosophy, no matter what program you take, how they can benefit you. So philosophy courses are often taken as service courses. So lots of students take them to learn a little bit about argument and critical reasoning, and that can help a lot in whatever you're studying. So, and that's the first thing I'll point about philosophy is it's the kind of discipline that if you study it, you have a lot of takeaway skills. And as I mentioned, argument skills, research skills, analytic skills, and certain kind of writing skills. Lots of programs teach writing, but philosophical writing is a more specialized kind, which still can be generalized to use in history or conflict studies or theology or across the spectrum at university. Okay, so, like, what do we offer? What can I do? It's a very good question. Like, who's teaching in this program? So the professor's research areas, what are we teaching? Who are we? And then there is a research center in public ethics and governance, so you can get involved. So what are we offering, and what can I do afterwards? Who are we, and how do you get involved? Well, let's start by just looking at some of the stuff in undergrad. There's 2 certificates we offer: Ethics in Contemporary Social Issues, Ethics in Contemporary Social Issues, Immigration and Integration. So what you see, you can have a look at the slide, but basically what we're doing here is we're looking at large-scale issues. So public ethics, social ethics, all these kinds of terms deal with large-scale issues that society faces. Like how for instance, for Canada, how should we run our immigration policy? What should we do? There's different approaches to it around the world. Canada has a particular approach, and it's governed by the certain kinds of needs of the country, the problems, et cetera, et cetera. So what we can do is help you think about these kinds of questions, not just issues of immigration, but general social interest issues from a philosophical perspective. So you're going to learn basically to think philosophically about ethics. So you will start learning theory. So in these programs, whether it's a certificate or, as I'll talk about next, in the bachelor's, you're going to be learning to think theoretically and philosophically and practically as well. Also, if you notice, it's multidisciplinary. So you get a broad background in this program so that you get familiar with a variety of issues from a variety of perspectives, but all within a philosophically united and theoretical perspective. So you have the ability not simply to talk about these issues, but to talk about them in a form that presents itself as an argument. So you're able to put forward positions and defend these positions. All right, so there's our 2 certificates. Just a brief note, we also have an honors bachelor. So the certificates are like shorter programs, and you can look at all the details of how long they are, but they're roughly about 30 credits, about 10 courses. But an honors bachelor, of course, is a full 4-year program. And in this one, you're doing very similar things as you do in the certificates, but you're going to be exploring these things deeper, more different kinds of issues, and you're going to get better at writing essays, giving presentations, applying your knowledge, and of course, getting better at arguing. So one of the things that we're really trying to do is give you a good background, how to argue for positions. And ultimately, the main goal of argument is not in the ordinary language way of argument, like a fight. That's not what we mean in philosophy. What we're talking about in philosophy is that you learn to argue well, means you get better at presenting ideas, defending them, and convincing people. So if you're interested in changing the world, changing how people think and all that, you need good argument skills to be able to do that, because that's what we live in. We live in a society that's based on persuasion. So getting good, becoming proficient at the art of persuasion, at the art of argument, is what we're trying to teach our students. We have a couple of graduate programs. The first is a graduate diploma. So that's kind of like a certificate, only at the graduate level. It's based on course and seminar work in public ethics. And remember, public ethics is the issue, is the issues of large scale ethical concerns and problems that society faces. So we have courses and seminar work, and it tends to be quite attractive for those of you that are working professionals already. If you have a bachelor's degree, you may want to come and study ethics with us. Lots of people from the government have done that, people in private industry. If they're interested in becoming an ethics officer, for instance, lots of people who are mid-career professionals in the public service will come and study with us. Maybe they'll get a graduate diploma or get the full master's degree so that they can become an ethics officer. So it's part of building a career. So that's quite common. So the graduate diploma in public ethics, the goals basically not terribly different from the undergrad. It's just deepening them and broadening them, developing your analytical skills. That's what I'm talking about when I say arguments, getting better at analyzing. Analyze means to break down, and then the reverse is to synthesize, to put back together into a coherent and well-argued package. So you're looking at getting your analytic skills better, your writing skills, your presentation skills, and of course, it's all part of the developing your skills in the art of persuasion. So what else are you doing? And again, coherently articulating the contents of an ethical debate. Keep in mind that one of the most difficult problems in sort of tackling an ethical problem is shaping exactly what the problem is. And if you look around and you look at when there is conflict, most times people don't agree on exactly what the problem is. So what we do is train you to get a little bit better over time. So it takes a while to do this, but to become better at articulating exactly what a problem is, because that's the first step in trying to formulate a good position, is truly understanding an ethical problem. That's a skill to be able to do that. So we give you opportunities to build your skills in this. And then you can, of course, shape discussions and policies if you go back into, into government or various corporations to shape discussions and policies. So a lot of people that come through end up going back into government and various, private industry to be policy managers and policy analysts. Okay. This is the Masters of Arts in Public Ethics. Is the program description. Again, it's like the certificate at the graduate level. It's based upon course and seminar work. So you get, again, here they overlap. That is you can think of the certificate as kind of a subset of the full master's degree. So the certificate at the graduate level is a subset, the full master's degree. And that means in the full master's degree, you have more of an opportunity to go more deeply into certain issues. And of course, it all depends on what kind of masters you want to get. That is, there's two tracks within our masters, and I'll talk about those in a second. But basically, the master's degree is to give you a really solid foundation in ethical theory, ethical practice, and how to structure presentations and arguments, papers, and various documents that can persuade people of a particular position. The learning goals are basically, as I've been talking about, again, the key thing is discerning the values and ethical concerns involved in particular policy statements. So sometimes a lot of people become policy analysts. So you might get hired by a company or a department in government that you don't start building their ethics from scratch. You might be brought in to analyze what's already there with the idea of improving it. Many times my students have gone on and they would be handed some set of documents that a department may have, and people will say, well, this is kind of just a collection of things we'd like people to do. We would like an ethicist to put it in a nice coherent framework. Well, putting ethical issues in and guidelines in a coherent framework, that's what we're training you to do here. Is you're able to format this in a way that is like a unity where people can read it and everything relates to everything else. It's clear and concise, and most importantly, not only is it clear and concise, but what flows out of that is it can be applied. So nothing's worse than when you get ethical documents or certain kinds of guidelines and they're not clear. So that's what we aim to teach, is the art of clarity as well. So our good argument and analytic skills in philosophy is all part of even the broader notion of the art of clarity. So that's what you get a lot of opportunities to, is to develop your analytic skills so that you become a clear writer and thinker on ethical issues. And of course, at the master's level, the full program, you simply have a greater opportunity to study all this stuff in more detail. And this is also important for our society because we are increasingly an information-based society. This is what we do. We are just, everything is persuasion, right? You got to get, as they say more colloquially, it's buy-in, right? If you want to change things, screaming doesn't work, and we don't agree with violence and all those things. That's not, you have to convince people. You have to have a clearly thought out position, and you have to have a good argument to get people on your side if you want to change things. So getting buy-in is all part of the art of clarity and the art of analytics and the art of argumentation. So what do we do research here? Okay, well, I'll start a little bit with myself. I work in, well, hey, they put me at the bottom. I'm at the very bottom here. Ethics of war and terrorism interventions and ethical theory, history of ethics, ethics and metaphysics. So I teach a lot of theoretical courses. In other words, if you come and study here, there's a good chance I'll be teaching you a theoretical course in ethics. And if you're interested in the history of ethics, ethics and metaphysics, if you like, or if you're very theoretically minded about ethics, I do a lot of work in that. And then, of course, my concrete area is involves issues of war and military interventions. So it's often connected with, conflict and conflict studies. But we have a variety of professors working in all kinds of areas. So let's just, like environment. The big issues, right? Think about it. Environmental ethics, immigration, migration, largely connected, right? Immigration and migration is often connected to environmental issues. Of course, Canada being a multicultural country, that has long been an issue in our politics and in our public policy. So we've got people that work on that. Human rights, again, not surprisingly, if we're working on multiculturalism and questions of how to integrate a society, how to build an integrated whole of society, well, you're going to be talking about what kinds of rights and how do they all fit together. So again, this question of coherency, coming up with policies and understandings of how to fit things together. And another big one, of course, is bioethics. So we've got people working in bioethics and tech privacy. That's another big thing. So we've got people working in that. And then if you're more, shall we say, theoretically inclined, as I mentioned, you could do ethics and metaphysics. That's pretty theoretical. But if you're also into understanding more about politics from a philosophical dimension, you're interested in the idea of political structures and what is power? Where does power derive from? How does that work? How does we have justifiable uses of state power and things like that? Well, then we have people that work in political philosophy. So you can, you can do some work in that if you like, and take courses in that as well. So that's a rough overview of the things we offer. The career possibilities, let's have a look at that. As I've been mentioning, there's a variety of things. So public service, that's a big one. Lots of people in the public service. Ethics advisors are found in a variety of places. I'm just skipping down to the bottom. The ethics advisors is sort of a general category. You can get involved in government. You can get involved in a lot of private industry. Some people I know that have come through the program have gone to work in hospitals on ethics boards. So the biomedical ethics, big role, right? Issues of of life and death. And as you know, there's all kinds of issues going on about certain issues involving euthanasia and things like that. So that's a big place where they need people that are trained in ethics. Nonprofit organizations also, they have various kinds of positions for people to come in and structure their ethics, and also designing goals for companies. One of the things that philosophy does that's pretty unique amongst disciplines is it doesn't just articulate goals, it looks at their justification. It looks at what kind of a society do we want, what kinds of parts do we want to build into that society in order to reach the kinds of things that we want in a society in general. So philosophy, again, is that big picture kind of thinking, the large scale problems in ethics. So much. It was mostly philosophy led into a pretty straightforward job like mine as a professor. You went in, you studied philosophy, you became a prof. That's just not the way. It hasn't been like that for a long time now. Lots of people study philosophy without going into academia. They want to go into other things, more of the practical stuff. So they end up in roles in government and a variety of other things, city councils and all kinds of things, and even right in politics as well, working for political parties. I've had students gone on to be involved in that. So speaking of being involved, there is a research center in public ethics and governance. And this is a place, it's three of our professors, Dr. Cloutier, Dr. Lanois, and Dr. Paquette, they run it. And if you're interested, there's a Facebook site for that. But if you want to get in touch with them, you can contact me and I can put you in touch with people at the research center if you want to find out more about that. But what they do is they have activities, workshops, conferences, there's research laboratories basically on ethics. So it's quite open, the kind of research that's done there. Students can get involved like that. Then, okay, so you can find that on our website. Just there's my email address. And if you want, you can check out, I have a YouTube channel. So if you want to see some of the things that I lecture on, I have lots and lots of lectures up on my YouTube channel, and I'm always putting new ones up there as I go along. So you're free to look and comment and contact me if you want any more information on those lectures. And I'll just end on this note. If you have any questions about the faculty or any of our programs, you're not sure where to go, don't spend a lot of time scouring the website don't get frustrated over it. Just send me an email and I can help you. I can direct you to people. And that can sometimes save you a lot of time and frustration. So I'm here as a kind of liaison as well. But of course, if you know the kinds of liaison officers, you don't have much luck, by all means, you can contact me.